screws never do as well when they're on film as when they're not on film. Like, I really want to look like I'm competent, but then, what in the world? Why did you do that? It's coming that way, you know. This one I know is weird because it bends out like that. Shove it in. We just moved into a new property, and when you move, a lot of stuff ends up in the air, including your gardening plants. So I thought, you know what? A friend of mine came over and tilled this area up for us, and wouldn't it be great to just get a garden right in the ground? I'll just buy a few transplants and put them in. So I went and I bought a few transplants today. And I'll tell you what, the price of these transplants, $5.95 for a 6-pack. These are cabbages I'm putting in right now. $5.95 for a 6-pack of transplants. That is rough. And it's not getting any better. I remember it was $3.48 and I thought $3.48 was too much. $5.95, I've never seen them that high before. And I don't think anything's gonna be getting cheaper. However, if you are a little patient, you can save a lot of money. Think about it here. If I'm planting cabbages and I spend $1 each on the transplants, that means if they successfully reach cabbaging stage and get harvested, I already have $1 into it on the transplant. Well, what if I have to water them? There's a little bit of water in there. What about weeding them? There's a little bit of time and effort in there. And some people will spray BT on caterpillars and that sort of thing. I don't, so I lose the occasional cabbage because I would rather have food that's not sprayed with anything. But looking at it, starting at $1, man, that's expensive. It's getting to the point where you could just go buy a cabbage and eat a cabbage. Now, you know, it's not going to be your cabbage from your soil, and I mean, from this point on, I don't know what it may have gotten from being grown up in this tray, what kind of fertilizer or pesticide might have been on it, but it's probably going to be pretty cleared out by the time I harvest it. Hey, look, I got a 2 for 1. That means each one of these was only like 85 cents. Averaged out. So if you were to just go and buy a packet of seeds, you would save a lot of money because you can get a packet of maybe 50 to 100 cabbage seeds pretty easily for $2. What does that mean? If you got 200 seeds for $2, if you had to buy 200 transplants, or even 100 transplants, it's $100 worth of transplants. It's a huge reduction in cost right from the beginning. And you don't have to be super precious about your seeds. These guys, you lose one, you just lost $1. But if I plant a long row of seeds and I lose a few, so what? Seeds are cheap. So with seeds being cheap, and me being cheap, and not wanting to be real fancy with my creation of transplants, let me show you a way that we are going to make lots of transplants for the garden consistently over time without spending hardly anything at all. My son got some wood for a project where it was in the discard pile and it was kind of warped and had some cracks in it, and he bought it for a project, and then I stole it from him and used it for my own project. So it was already discounted, but now it's actually free. So I'm put this together to make a quick 4-foot by 4-foot raised bed, which we'll put right here, which is kind of close to the entrance area of our garden, and we'll dig it into the ground a little bit so it doesn't look stupid. I'm gonna do something kind of intensive here, and I don't really want any weeds in this little bed. So this was used to haul around bits of sod and stuff we were weeding out of our garden bed. I'm gonna rinse it out. You never know when you have soil, how many weed seeds are actually coming along with it. Put a little bit of potting mix on top here. And we're gonna make little furrows. With this scrap of PVC right here. So we've got one packet of cabbage seeds here, which could make me at least $100 worth of transplants. And we'll just put them right in this row. Make our own sauerkraut again. That's the goal. These ones here, this is a red cabbage. These seeds are like 3 years old or so. So we will put them in here, and if they don't germinate, no big loss. It's not like we put them out right into the garden. These here are Johnny's storage number 4, which is a good variety of cabbage. Grows well in the south. Johnny's Selected Seeds has a very, very high quality selection of stuff, so this one was recommended to me by a small farmer. So the last thing I'm planting here is some pak choi. During the pandemic, we planted a lot of pak choi, and my kids said they never want to eat it again, so I've made sure to plant it every year since for character building. So when these guys come up and they get a little bit bigger, they're gonna be about 1 inch apart or so inside of these tiny little itty bitty rows. We just go get a tablespoon out of the kitchen, and you dig in there and you transplant each one out into where you want them to go. So I calculated that this little space here will give me about $700 in transplants, if each transplant is $1 each. And that's just the first round, because you can continuously do this again and again and again. That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, the price of transplants is just through the roof right now, and it's always been way more expensive because you're outsourcing a little bit of work and you're getting that little plastic tray and that little bit of dirt, rather than just going out and getting seeds and doing your own. And I can use this soil again and again and again, just throw a little compost in here in between and make it beautiful again and make these plants happy. And you can even do this just by mounding up a little piece of your soil. Just take one corner of your garden, mound it up, start a whole bunch of seeds in that area, really, really, really tight spacing. If you're not sure if a packet of seeds is too old or if it's gonna germinate properly, this is a great place to do it. If it doesn't germinate, so what? You're out a couple of weeks of waiting, but you've got tons of other stuff you could transplant from the other seed packets that did do okay. And anything that comes up, you just start transplanting it out and moving it into big rows or your grocery row gardens or your container gardens or whatever else you're doing. Super easy. And I hope that helps you save a little bit of money, because we all need to save a little bit of money right now. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to check out my books at the links below, especially my book, Grow or Die, The Good Guide to Survival Gardening. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green.